Marvel Ultimate Alliance 2 is the second game in the series, once again focusing on selecting a team of 4 characters from a core roster of 23, more with various DLC or system exclusives, and then you progress with them throughout the various levels. This review is going to be for the PC version, though I have also played the one for Xbox 360. I did not notice any real differences between the two, so there you go. Core additions to the gameplay consist of fusion attacks, which is when you have 2 characters team up to do massive, highly damaging moves, with the moves varying depending on which heroes you choose to interact with each other. So for instance, Captain America and Wolverine, they will just go on this hype train of death, murdering everyone they come across, whereas someone with super strength, say Juggernaut, he'll just pick up Wolverine and just throw him at the target, and he'll do massive damage in the classic X-Men fastball special combo. You can also swap out teammates anywhere, provided you aren't in combat, which is admittedly a nice change from the shield checkpoints of the first game. Costumes are also much easier to unlock, usually being a requirement of kill X amount of enemies using this particular super move as, I don't know, Spider-Man, or something along those lines. Some of them are also story dependent as well, with the costumes being completely locked out depending on what side you choose in the game, but you do have a new game plus, so you can basically get everything. Speaking of sides, we might as well talk about the story at this point. The story of the second game is decidedly less exciting than the first one. The first one was when you had freaking Dr. Doom going on a cosmic quest to steal Odin's power. Yes, that Odin, Thor's father. Your quest to stop him takes you to all kinds of places within the greater Marvel Universe. You go to Asgard, Atlantis, Murder World, yes, that's a thing, and even Hell, just to name a few. You fight the Mandarin, Mephisto, Loki, even Galactus at one point. And then you finally end the game fighting Odin-powered Dr. Doom. It is awesome. The second game, well, the second game is based on Civil War. For you movie watchers out there, no. This is not the Civil War you're thinking about. We're not talking about the movie Civil War. No. We're talking about the comic book Civil War, which on the surface sounds similar to the movie because you have Iron Man fighting Captain America, but that's about as similar as the movie gets to the comic book, because the comic book diverges wildly, or I guess you could say the movie diverges wildly from the comic book. And the comic story gets much worse, much more quickly. I bring this up because while it's based on Civil War, the setting is pretty much limited to, well, Earth. You go to the negative zone briefly, but besides that, it's Earth. No going to the Shi'ar Empire, no Atlantis, no Asgard, just Earth. Not only that, but most of it takes place in usually a city. So the game opens with Latveria, which for those who do not know is a fictional country ran by Dr. Doom. Sadly, Dr. Doom is not present. And then from Latveria you go to New York City, Washington DC, a Stark Industries factory, the Negative Zone, Wakanda, and finally, in the grand culmination of the plot, everything the game has been leading up to takes you to Iceland. Yeah, Iceland. So locations this time around, not that great. The Negative Zone and Wakanda are really the only two truly unique locations. The Tony Stark factory being a factory, so, whatever, factory's a factory. And even Wakanda is essentially, jungle half the time you're there. And then you get to, like, a few platforms in the city. Once again, we're in a city, and you get to Wakanda proper. But without getting into the failings of Civil War as a story, The game does admittedly decide to just abandon the Civil War plot entirely, because they want to do their own thing and not end all depressing like the comic book did with Captain America getting sniped and dying. So you end up fighting the nanites, which are introduced, and you're still fighting other heroes and villains, but now you aren't fighting them because of politics, you're fighting them because they're being mind-controlled by sentient nanites. This culminates in Iceland, fighting the final boss, which is nanite-infused Nick Fury. Yeah, Nick Fury is the final boss. But this is back when Nick Fury was an old white guy and Captain Marvel wasn't calling herself Captain Marvel, so you can tell how old the game is and the era in which it was made. Notably pre-MCU for the most part, which the third game is more than making up for with Thanos and Infinity Gems, or Infinity Stones, whatever they're being called now, so yay! And it's a far cry from Odin-powered Doctor Doom. Like, the first game was just so much better. There's also less costumes to use as well. The first game gave you 4 separate costumes per superhero. The second game gives you 2. And that's it. Just 2 per character. But what I mean, so you have a lame story, right? Well, what about the gameplay? You know, you got these cool superheroes and supervillains you can, have team up. You know, what about the gameplay? Well, at its core, it's basically the same. You know, you run around, you press a button, your character punches them, then you press a couple buttons, you do a super move or something. But well, let's just hop right into it. The existence of some heroes with certain abilities makes fusion attacks, which is like a big selling point for the second game, pretty pointless. You could whack away at enemies to build up your fusion bar to use a super move, or just use Thor or the Human Torch and watch as the boss's health bar just melts. Like, you don't need fusion moves when you have the Human Torch. Like, he's a boss killer. And so you can do something like that while using Wolverine or Deadpool or someone, if need be, to just absorb all the damage and heal through the pain. Or you can use Green Goblin and show why guns are so powerful compared to fists, and watch as he murders everyone while he laughs and cackles like a madman. Because Green Goblin is probably one of the most OP characters in the entire game. I mean, he kills everyone. Overall, I think you can have fun with the game. I had fun. I know I griped a lot about the game. I did have fun with it, but if I had to pick one, I would go with the first game every single time, because better locations, cooler bosses, a better hero selection, I think, than the second game. And to be frank, the cutscenes were just better. Like, just better quality. The first game had better cutscenes. How is that possible? I'm not sure. But it is what it is. Plus, there's the Doom factor. You gotta love Dr. Doom. As always, thanks for watching, everyone. If you like what you see here, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Make sure, if you're watching this on YouTube, make sure you click that notification icon so you can be notified every time we have a new upload. I try to maintain a constant upload schedule, give or take a few, days off here or there, but, it is what it is. So, once again, thanks for watching. I hope to see you guys next time.